Hi, this is part 2 of the slideshow about what is a photon. On the basis of postulates 1st to 5th explained in part 1 of this slideshow, we may explain polarization, diffraction and interference. Let us start with polarization. If the axis of spin of the photon is parallel to the gap between lamina of polarizing transparent crystal it passes through. Otherwise it interacts with atoms and is stopped. Diffraction. If we apply high frequency alternating current signal to a moving coil direct current emitter, the needle does not move due to inertia. Similarly, visible photons traveling near a large object don't all come together, bend or move apart as there is push and pull happening 600 trillion times a second or 2 million times per meter. But when photon of wavelength say 0.5 micron interacts with a blade edge of same thickness, their interaction causes diffraction. The more the interaction time in a particular phase, more the bending. So red light bends more than violet. Interference. Photons coming out from two nearby coherent sources in Young's double-slit experiment, say a millimeter apart, and traveling to a screen say 1 meter away, must be bending en route. This is due to their interaction with other photons of nearly same phase and a lot more interaction time than in diffraction. Photons traveling with matching phase move together and those having opposite phase move apart. This causes fringes. We see that varying magnetic field can be used to explain wave nature of photon. This way, we can resolve wave-particle duality of light, and finally the particle, or rather the nuclear droplet model, will win. Textbooks say that the electric field of a photon increases simultaneously with the magnetic field, but I think it would be more logical to have magnetic energy converting to electrical energy and back, keeping the total energy constant. The sixth postulate. If the photon travels for millions of years, its oscillation frequency would reduce redshift due to losses in heating up the constituent nuclear fluid. Losses are very common in oscillators, be it due to air drag in pendulum or resistance in inductor-capacitor resonant circuit. So our interpretation of the redshift of photon being due to Doppler shift and interpreting it as galaxies moving away and accelerating can just be natural losses in photon energy. The seventh postulate. The most primitive matter in the universe is this nuclear matter without charge. When a photon interacts with it, electron and proton break out of it, producing the hydrogen atom. Charge may be related to density or angular momentum. Charge has to be something that is produced in couples with opposite signs, so that what is more in one particle is equal to less in the other. At the rate of increase of average intensity of light in the universe, the nuclear matter may be converting into conventional matter by this splitting. The eighth postulate. Velocity of light is probably the maximum velocity with which a tide on nuclear fluid may travel, the escape velocity, above which a photon breaks off from the surface. This may be used to find surface tension of nuclear fluid someday. Deduction. Particle velocities greater than c are not sustainable near matter as they drag tides along, liberate photons like Cherenkov radiation and thereby lose energy. The ninth postulate, geomagnetism and light. I believe the cause of Earth's magnetism is the presence of iron core and the ionosphere current producing a simple electromagnet. What I mean by ionosphere current here is that ionization produced in Earth's atmosphere by the Sun has a positive charge maximum towards Sun, and as the Earth rotates on its axis in 24 hours, that effective charge completes one circle around Earth. The negative charge layer is lower and would cancel some magnetism produced. If calculations prove this approach to be true in contributing an appreciable percentage of Earth's magnetic field, then we can further postulate that magnetism on all elementary particles is produced by their spin and its interaction with the uniform photon soup. I am hinting towards the omnipresent microwave background radiation, which I here call a soup. This, if proved correct, will mean there can be no magnetism without light. Deduction. The best Bose-Einstein condensate would then be created by shielding it from the ever-present radiation, and the evolution of cosmic matter starts and is controlled by increase in light in cosmos. The 10th postulate. Microwave background radiation. We know that for a black body radiation to have a Planck's curve, the photon gas must have attained thermal equilibrium through emission and absorption by matter. I believe the 2.73 Kelvin temperature derived from Planck's curve of microwave background radiation suggests that photon gas must have attained thermal equilibrium in the distant past, as these photons are coming from far away. Today no conventional matter is resonating at 3 Kelvin. Almost all matter today has converted into hot stars, and photons don't cool down thermodynamically en route. The most probable choice is the universe started as a homogeneous infinite Bose-Einstein condensate with temperature 0 Kelvin, that is minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. Above a particular temperature, the Bose temperature or degeneracy temperature, when all the matter was no longer degenerate, the first photons were released, and according to postulate 7, free hydrogen was produced. Matter contracted on heating above 0 Kelvin, dragging itself from infinity into galaxies. 3 Kelvin is just one of the temperature stages through which the universe has passed. Microwave background radiation is so uniform because radiation started being emitted when matter was uniformly spread over infinite distance. The 0 Kelvin universe is still out there far away. The 11th postulate. There is no strong force to counter proton-proton repulsion in nucleus, and something like meson that appears on collision of two particles may not be already present in them. In a sodium atom, if protons and neutrons have individual existence in nucleus, the tides on nucleus would be jumping from one proton to another, liberating even more photons than reasonable. So, I believe during the process of fusion reaction, the protons merge together with neutrons into one positively charged drop. Therefore, the 11 electrons orbiting the sodium nucleus create 11 circular tides on it. Surface tension holds the particle drop together, and interparticle collisions can create different drop sizes. So now the deficiencies in this theory. First, the magnetic field of a photon does not change sign from north-south to south-north, though it would vary in magnitude as the photon changes shape. Second, why positron has positive charge if its size matches that of electron with probably same density? Third, what happens to the tide when an electron leaves the orbit of a nucleus is not clear now. If tide subsides, it would lose one positive charge. But that does not happen. The atom actually retains the positive charge and becomes an ion. Major part of this content was first published at the website deepakdabi.bravehost.com on 20th May 2010. Now this and my other research work can be found at darby.bravesites.com. I am thankful to bravesites.com for hosting my content. I would be glad to receive acknowledgement if anyone chooses to work on these postulates. Please leave comments, send questions and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this slideshow. Deepak Darby.